G'day and welcome to the 64th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. This week we're joined by Fractured Winky. We talk about our impressions of the Crimson Days event, everything upcoming on the Destiny front, and we get into a whole heap of chat questions at the end, which, you know, there's some insightful shit in it. Not from us, from the chat. Anyway, check it out. G'day and welcome to the Nintendo 64th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. I'm Log Power Slave, and this week we have a special guest. Hang on, why is the music going again? Holy fuck. Right. Professionalism to the max. As always, Sloth's here. Matt's still away on his law-based pilgrimage. We don't know if he's ever returning, actually. He may have fallen into a deep chasm or a depression after reading the most recent comic strip. Who knows? But we do bring some quality to the table this week in good friend, an absolute bona fide Australian legend, and incredibly unfortunately named Fractured Winky. How are you, brother?
I'm good.
Sloth, how are you?
Yeah, I'm going all right. Tired.
Good, aren't we all? So, I don't know, I mean, we always kind of get to this point of the week and we're, okay, what's been happening in Destiny? And as always, the 12 delivers, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But I think what's most important now is Winky hasn't been on the cast before, despite literally, I've spoken to you probably every week for the last year. So it's fine. It's nice that the fucking planets have finally aligned for it to happen. And it is a pleasure to have you here, dude. So, I mean, I guess if you want to take a minute to introduce yourself to our humble audience and tell us a little bit what you're about.
Absolutely. Well, so I think this is the third time that you've tried to get me on, I think. And it's just amazing that I'm, not going away and not dead with the flu. So that's pretty good.
You got to be happy with that.
Yeah, well, so my name is Fractured Winky. I do the streaming on Twitch. I've only been doing it for a few months now. I can't even remember when I started. Would have been about 4 or 5 months ago. It's been really good. Has a lot of support.
Longer than that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about a year now.
No.
Yeah. It's quick how fast it fucking catches up.
100%. It's about 12. It's about 10 months, Daniel.
Oh, fuck off. Okay. Well, I just felt another grey hair then.
Fuck off.
So I play a lot of Destiny. A lot of Destiny. Still, even now. Yeah, fuck.
So people
yeah,
hit your
you
stream,
just
what can they expect? What can they expect from a Winky stream?
Well, if they ever ask, they can hear about the story behind my name. Which,
can we ask right now, or is that only on your stream thing? Is it like an intellectual property thing? Are there broadcasting rights for the story of a Fractured Winky?
You know what? I'll share it. So
okay.
It's been about 6 years. I
His
met
dick
my lovely
broken
wife,
off.
Doom Kitten, who's in the chat.
Yes.
We had a lovely few dates, and then a lovely few nights, and some nights we just went a bit too much. Eventually, things sort of snapped that weren't supposed to snap.
Did you seriously break your dick?
Yeah.
Did you see?
Not the whole
I thought it was a G up.
Oh mate, no. We there was blood involved and everything, and it happened twice.
It happened twice.
Yeah, mate. Didn't learn the first time.
Jesus Christ! No, I honestly sit here going, well, I thought it was a G up. I thought it was a reference to something else, or it was a joke. Fucking hell, man.
No, mate.
Shit.
No, we did the coitus a little too often, and not like that, Sloth. Not like that at all. It was just bits that were attached to other bits that shouldn't have broke. So,
do you I don't mean, it probably would have been useful for us to do a bit of preparation and actually get some kind of model for you to demonstrate. But
no, let's not. Let's just
I've got one prepared actually.
Yeah, here's my clinical model of a.
We all know what a guitar looks like, right?
Yeah. Right.
You're supposed to have all these strings on it.
Yeah.
Mine was a little bit like this, buddy.
Oh. Okay. Right. Okay. I think we better move on before your better half cringes to death in chat.
Let me go and get some tomato sauce, and I'll add to the.
No, put it away.
You know what? I am already offended enough by the sad state of disrepair that guitar is in. And Sloth looks like he's about to yock. I don't know what's going on here. How have we, like, what is it? It's been 3 minutes and we've completely fucking gone off track talking about broken dicks. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you turn up to Winky's stream, I imagine that now you will no longer need to ask him anything about that, and you'll be able to enjoy his content as a normal fucking human. And what were you doing the other night when I raided you? You were doing raid help by the look and getting some people through the raid. So a noble pursuit.
Raiding with the Dads of Destiny. I think we had one person who'd never got Nargos clear, so that was a good day.
You're helping out with the leadership of dads on the Xbox side these days, aren't you, man?
A little bit of both. I admin for the Southguard clan on PlayStation, which is one of 3, and I've just started the Xbox one, which is Dads of Destiny Drop Bears.
Dads of Destiny Drop Bears. All right.
Yeah.
The mythical Australian beast.
Name.
Yeah, well, I like it. It's good. So, I mean, I guess that's the other thing that we can talk about here is dads and how you got involved in that. And I mean, we've had Static on, so we know a little bit about it. But it's something that, I mean, if I wasn't already in our clan, it'd probably be where I'd be. I imagine it'd probably be where Sloth would be if TA wasn't such a, I don't know, magnet for dead shits. Let's put it that way.
It's a magnet for amazing folks.
Yes,
it is.
But
broken like yours.
So there's what? There's 3 PSN clans now for
yes.
Dad? Wow, right.
Yep.
There's
There's 3 at the moment.
Like, wasn't there just one?
So there was just one in Destiny 1. You know, when you could have 200 members or whatever. And then we split into 2 clans for Destiny 2, which were Southguard and Down Under. And then both of those reached capacity quite quickly with the launch of Destiny 2. So a 3rd one was opened up, which is Bushrangers.
Bushrangers. I like that one.
Bushrangers.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's only on PSN.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
okay.
They'll take members from anyone if you really want to, but we've got the Xbox One now, so you can actually see other people in the clan feed than yourself.
All right. Well, if you're out there and you're an Australian dad, or just I suppose a dad in general who inhabits that sort of the Australian evening time slot. It's time slot. Okay, I've got Sloth's face, like literally in front of my face. So, Freudian slip. But you know, if that's you, then definitely head to Winky's stream or Static Oz if you see him about as well, and hit him up because this is what they do. They're is Static still doing his raid races? Is that still a thing that goes on, or is that?
I'm pretty sure he's taking a bit of a break from Destiny at the moment. Just.
It's a good time for it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lot of games he can play. He's got both consoles to play. He's doing good. But he's opened his own clan, the Spud Nation clan, which is similar in effect to the Dads of Destiny. It's just a bit more universal for entry requirements.
Yeah, righto.
He runs a very similar
ethos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Righto. Well, that's good. I'm glad to. I mean, I'm horrified at that story, and I never want to hear it again. But at the same time, I'm glad you've.
Forever.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm gonna be googling when I get off this podcast of like how can that happen? I don't even want to know. Actually, I'm gonna just try and repress the memory as I do most of these podcasts. But let's move on. This week in Destiny, we've seen the activation of Crimson Doubles. So I've played a bit. I don't think Sloth's played at all. Winky, have you had a crack at it?
I've had a few games, yeah. Played some with the wifey on Valentine's Day.
How lovey-dovey, man.
It was good.
Fair enough. I mean, when your dick don't work, you got to find something to do. But
it does work now, thank you. Stop spreading lies and rumours.
I'm going to have my fun somehow. I don't know. I mean, I played the other night. I did a bit of an open call and had a good run there with Polar for a while and fucking Sass for a bit and all that sort of stuff. And I found it fun. I thought the increased grenade recharge and things like that really sped up the game, so to speak. And I think that I guess it's baby steps in the right direction in that I guess they're probably kind of trialing things like that through Crimson Doubles to see where they go. But I don't know. I mean, I found it fun and I found it something different, and I think that is sorely what's needed right now in Destiny because there's really not much of it going on. What did you think of the actual gameplay itself, Winky? What did you get out of it?
Right, so first day was absolutely fucking amazing and fun. You know, we were coming across a variety of teams. There was different classes always being used. That was on Wednesday, so the first day of it for Australia. And Becky and I mean, Becky doesn't really enjoy PvP, but she had an alright time. We won a couple of games with, you know, her 2 or 3 kills to my 25. Anyway, but so that was okay. There was lots of different classes and lots of different abilities and skill ranges and everything.
A shoe to hit you in the back of the head.
Should probably lock the door, shouldn't I?
He's got the door locked, yeah.
But by last night, it was just hunters everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Running
Hunters
around with Gemini
suppressor nades.
jesters or skip grenades,
Yeah,
and that was it.
yeah. It's
So
I don't
Puppies
know.
and
I mean,
in our 7 games had 1 win.
I think that's
There's
the
just nothing
the
you
thing
can do when
is
they dance
that
around you.
people are so quick to like narrow down on a meta, for want of a better term, like that it can make anything where even like anything is slightly out of kilter, like just completely insufferable. And I guess that's it. I mean, skip grenades were berserk. I found myself getting fucking like that suppressor smoke grenade just fucking constantly. It was giving me the shits. I couldn't even throw my grenades, let alone do anything. So I don't know. I mean, I've only got Titans, so I literally don't have the luxury of this is the meta this week. I'm going to go and embrace that. So I mean, as I found out, I haven't even unlocked the hammers on PC yet. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm a striker all the way. So that is what it is. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's where Destiny's at. Everyone that's still here and still really actively playing it is really, really fucking rusted on and really switched on with respect to what will get them what. And the second that something like this happens and the grenades recharging quicker and can be spammed more readily, I think that people know exactly how to exploit that, and I guess that's another thing that's gonna make it more complicated when it comes to rebalancing and the job that Newsk and all those guys are currently going through at Bungie. So I guess things like this highlight things like that, right? So hopefully that's the way it goes down, and they can learn some stuff out of this. And I don't know, just take skip grenades off, just remove hunters from the game. It would be better. I'll be okay.
I think you'd only anger about 3 people, so we're fine with that.
Well, no, hang on a second. I mean, like, I know you said that in jest, but like, I will say that I have no interest in playing Destiny at the moment. I know that seems really weird coming from a dude who is a part of a trio that hosts a Destiny-based podcast. But like you said, like people will always gravitate towards the meta.
Yep.
And they really, if you are one of these people, and we've covered this on multiple occasions, I think we're almost out of breath on this, but like, don't go onto the Bungie forums, ladies and gentlemen, and just go, nerf skip grenades. Like, just fucking incoherent noises into the fucking vastness of the Bungie forums, Reddit, and Twitter. Because I've seen that in the last few days since Crimson Doubles has been out. Is just people just screaming. And then you've got other people who are saying people still play Destiny and all this sort of thing. Fucking stop it. Just play the game. If you enjoy the game, play the game. If you don't enjoy the game, let people enjoy the game. If you don't do either, then don't do either. Like, it's not fucking hard.
I
Sorry,
guess
that's
I don't
my
know. I mean,
first answer.
that's the thing. That like Bungie need the feedback to like. I mean, they would be able to derive from metric that skip grenades are being used a hell of a lot more than probably what they would be in the proportion of a normal playlist. But at the same time, they do need feedback. So if you're going to give constructive feedback, go for it. But don't just scream into the void of a forum because it doesn't really get anyone anywhere. This is the thing.
Yeah, as I'm sure that we are in the absolute minority in this. We do go to the forums. We do check out. Well, at least I do. At least even now again because I hate myself. I go onto the forums and Reddit and check out all the hate that is going towards the game because you need to find out what people are complaining about. But people are dead set just complaining about the Crimson Doubles playlist and the grenades that you are able to lock down more area with, I guess you could say. So like Noisebringer said in the chat, you've got your bolt grenades, you've got your trap invisible poison looking things that the hunters use, and this, that, and the other. Like, I'm sure that there are people. I'm sure I saw a tweet from Destiny Popo, Sheik from Destiny Popo, saying that he's been using suppression grenades and bubbles, and he's been absolutely nailing it with shotgun suppression grenades and bubbles, which he's been using since day one.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's ever a guy that's going to nail it with that setup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's an absolute beast of a dude.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like, you don't complain because it doesn't fit your play standards on a limited time event.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all people do. That's all people do. And I would really like it to stop, but, you know, like, I'm just one man. I have my own opinion. And unfortunately, opinions like arseholes. Everyone has one, and most of them fucking stink. But, you know, it is what it is. So, moving right along from Crimson Doubles, Faction Rally's returning next week. The event kicks off at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on February 20th, so it's about 3 a.m. on the 21st for us. Thereabouts here in Australia. There hasn't been a lot of changes. Like, you've got some more gear that actually looks pretty good if you compare it, if you're checking out the TWAB. The new Monarchy stuff looks good. The Dead Orbit looks like they're Alice Cooper knockoffs, and Future War Cult, well, I mean, they're just weird. But
that's it every week, really, isn't it? Yeah. The new Monarchy stuff, and like, I'm not a new Monarchy dude, but the new Monarchy stuff does look way fucking cooler than everything else, because they have those like vented gun barrels and all that sort of. If had I known that, maybe I would have taken New Monarchy more seriously when I first selected my, you know, decided that I was just going to be Dead Orbit for forever. But, you know, it is what it is. I think the weapon this week is pulse rifles, so I don't know. I mean, this does play into a few things.
Future War Cult gets a scout though this week.
What? No, so they
Future War Cult's offering up a scout.
It is. Shit, I didn't notice that. So why have they got a scout and the other two have a pulse? That's just weird.
Because Future War Cult needs to win one, otherwise people are going to complain.
Oh, boo-hoo. Wow. Future War Cult, the weirdos that fucking like to tug themselves in the corner and all that sort of thing are fucking complaining about it.
That is Dead Orbit. That is Dead Orbit, and that's why we're in Dead Orbit. So don't start talking about other people having a rip in the corner, right? We're the sus people.
One thing
that's weird. That's weird. I didn't realise that. Like, I guess, are they that desperate to stage a fucking win for for Future War Cult?
Look, I think we've only had 1 week where all of the factions were offering the same archetype of weapon.
Yeah, and it worked because... No, there's been 2 now, I think. There was the one where they all had swords, was it? Did they all have swords? And then they all had auto rifles? Or was it just the auto rifles?
Only New Monarchies had a sword. It was the auto rifle.
Okay, right. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. That does, having said that, play into some of the comments that Nusk makes a little bit later in the 12, but we'll touch on that. But I am going to call it now. I do foresee pulse rifles being raised in terms of in the meta, which is it's probably timely, to be honest. I hope so. I don't mean that in a self-serving way. I think that they're probably an underutilized weapon. So there are a few other guns you can jump in and get, but probably the biggest takeaway from this is that they're removing the amount of time. That whole timeout thing for running lost sectors. So provided you kill the boss and you get the boss to respawn, the chest will come back, you can get the key, open the chest with the key, you'll be able to do it as quick as you can. So you're probably going to have to completely leave the area, run back in and all that sort of shit. So it won't be quite the backdoor method of 3 months ago when we're all just fucking farming the living shit out of it. But at the same time, it will not be as broken and as difficult to accrue points or tokens as it was last time.
With that, what you just said, like you can't farm it and all that sort of thing.
Well, you can farm it. It's just faster,
but not as much as what you were doing. Like people were spending entire days farming it and just throwing on a podcast and watching that, just drooling out the side of their mouth. So, did they up the drop rates? They did up the drop rates of the faction tokens, didn't they?
No,
I don't
in
think
that one
so.
they didn't up the drop rates. They just changed it so that the tokens didn't drop from the explosives. They dropped from the chest, which is why people found the new farming method.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
people
yeah.
used to just walk into a cave, shoot one, walk out, walk back in,
All
shoot
right,
them.
that's where I was getting confused then. All right, yeah. Well, I mean, like if you like, there are people in the live chat, there are people on YouTube, and there are people that listen to the cast who still play Destiny every day. So if you are looking forward to the faction rally, get all of the new monarchy stuff because it looks fucking incredible.
It does, dude.
Um,
It's actually pissing me off. Like, it's pissing me off. Like I like the Vice guns. I like the dead orbit stuff. I like the whole black smeared with white and all of that sort of stuff. But like that new monarchy auto rifle that's sitting there just looking at me oh,
Just
Yeah.
like,
Whatever. It's actually
Hey, look,
terrible.
is it?
how you doing?
Yeah.
Come get me.
Is it terrible? Good. That makes it easy. You've just made my life just
Shut
that
the
much better,
fuck
Winky.
up, Daniel.
He'd know.
He-
They
He's
offered it last
stirring.
faction rally. No, it was legit toilet.
It was right. I'm actually intrigued by the dead orbit pulsar rifle. I'm gonna pick that up if I'm given the choice, if I'm given the opportunity, and I'm gonna keep it for when the meta gets rejigged a bit. As a nifty little segue, we might jump into that now. There is, they had Hamrick on last week, and the John Wisniewski this week talking about some. I mean, he specifically drills into some of the, how they're rebalancing exotics to make them exotic again, which I think is sorely needed in Destiny. One of the things that really made Destiny 1 for me was the excitement that you got, or the will to pursue some of the exotic weapons. Think about how much work it took to get Thorn, and as much as Thorn was a fucking pain in the ass once everyone had it, everyone wanted it. Like there was reasons to invest in activity because you wanted the ultimate reward. This now, everything seems like a fucking random drop nearly. I've got helms of Saint 14 coming out of my ass. They're just turning up. I don't even want them anymore, and I can't get like I'm buried in them. I want to care about it again.
From Thursday night, and I quote, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I've got another Saint 14."
Yeah, and it's followed me. It's followed me across platforms too, because it was PC. I was started on the Xbox. I got one, had the shits, jumped over to PC, was playing with Polar, and got another one. And I can't even remember the last time I saw an exotic that wasn't the Helm of Saint 14. So, fuck. I mean, I know that there's changes.
Agree on those drops.
Yeah, I think exotics. Like, honestly, this is seriously encouraging. I won't get into it, but he uses Graviton Lance as an example, and basically saying that they're rejigging sort of the Minute the way it works, and they want to bring these guns up and make them something special again. So they're looking at the reasons why people don't use them effectively, and trying to eliminate them or make them tolerable or balance that out, or just really reduce that, for want of a better term. The other thing that is sort of vaguely touched on, he mentions that Vigilance Wing isn't getting any particular buffs in itself because it is subject to buffs that are coming as part of the balance pass. So that for me, it kind of makes me think that, well, there must be definite improvement on the horizon for the pulse rifle genre, like the pulse rifle subset of weapons. So it'll be interesting to see what shape that takes. And while there's no real hard information in the TWAB this week about it, I think that we can probably start to, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to tell anyone to start hoarding weapons or any bullshit like that, because they're definitely easy enough to get that you don't need to. But if there's guns from each archetype that you already like, it's probably worth just, maybe start using them again, having a look. Something you might be sleeping on, you don't know. I don't know. What did you guys take out of the new skin interview? That was, I mean, for me, it was one of. They're definitely trying to put the special back into these exotic engrams.
Well, I mean, this sort of draws on a conversation that was born out of the last sandbox sort of information from the TWAB. They want to stop duplicate exotics dropping. Okay,
well, I think they will, but yeah.
Yeah. That I would love to see that, but I would also love to see the chance of exotics being lowered to the point where you have to grind the shit out of them. And if you are chasing a specific exotic, maybe they should tie it to a specific activity. If you're sort of picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Like, this is way down the track.
Yeah.
But like a really, like, if you let's say if you've got a strike, so Pyramidion, that's the one I can name off the top of my head, and you've got a warlock and you've got like a set of warlock boots that will like make you fly and sun shine out your arsehole and all that sort of thing. So you want those ones. So you get your team of 3 together, you grind that strike on the hardest difficulty, and yeah, it's a grind, but at least you will have something at the end of it. You know, it's not just RNG. I would actually, I think I might flip on my own thought process and say that I would like to see them take a lot of RNG out of the game. I would like to see them have a guaranteed drop rate, but that guaranteed drop rate is 0.09%. You sort of picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I mean, the grind would be punishing, but it would be guaranteed.
Mini quests for everything.
Yes, it would be guaranteed, and if the exotics are actually made to be exotic, then, I mean, I would be absolutely down with that. I would absolutely be down with that. I would grind the shit out of it, because then you won't just go, hey, I popped a 3 of coins, or I popped the what's it called again? The coins that you get from the Vanguard, bloody...
Yeah, the tokens.
Yeah,
the tokens.
Thing,
yeah. So you pop that and you go, oh, I got this exotic. Woo. What do I do now?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I had a thought, Ray, I'm trying to... Jesus. And, like, if you're listening to this right now, I've just forgotten, like, your name, because I had a conversation probably 3 weeks ago on stream that was basically to the effect that why aren't exotic armor pieces or exotic weapons tied to armor sets, right? So you have to collect an armor set to then wear that armor set to unlock an exotic piece of armor, right? Like that's what gives you the chance of, and then, you know, once you get it, then you can whatever. But if you were sort of like, okay, here is the, I don't know, I'm just to pluck something out of my ass. Here is, to get the Helm of Saint 14, you need to wear the entire Nessus set, and that's what allows it to be in your drop pool. Otherwise, you don't get it. So you are sort of... It gives all of that shit use, and it gives, you know, like, maybe there's specific activities you could do. I guess it's the same thing. It's kind of like directing it. Like, these pieces will raise your likelihood of getting this piece of armor. I think that they could go a long way in, like, making things useful by doing that. Big Shook does raise a valid point in chat that, I mean, we can't grind specific strikes anyway. So to talk in that sense, it would be an absolute punish to put, you know, this is the Pyramidion exotic. I know that wasn't your intent, Sloth, but I mean, you would need to be able to specifically play a strike and allow people to do that. To do that, because otherwise, I mean, you just imagine how pissed off people would be. Oh, I got fucking, because you get the same strike twice anyway, and it's always that one with fucking old mate the invisible prick at the end.
Well, I mean, like, I suppose you've actually improved my point vastly by saying that, you know, I want to add to that as well. Let us unlock the exotic perk. Like, let us go gather mats like Year 1 Destiny to unlock the exotic perk, for fuck's sake. But no, you have to get the entire Nessus set to go on to get the exotic piece of armor or weapon or whatever in your drop pool. Like, tie it to the lore somehow, or not so much the lore anymore, but the wives' tales. Tie it to the wives' tales in some way, or shape, or form, and go, all right, you have to do this activity on its hardest difficulty. It's going to be a ball buster, but you will get that exotic piece if you get through it on a certain time.
Just on an aside note, I just felt a disturbance in the lore force, and I'm pretty sure that Mylan has just collapsed wherever he is after you reduced it to wives' tales.
No, but like that's what they've reduced it to, isn't it? Like, quite seriously, that's what they've reduced it to. But we'll get into that another day. We're focusing on this. Daniel, what's your thought process on it, mate?
Well, going back to
Just
making exotics exotic.
I'll be right back.
No problem. I'd like to see stupid things like Saint 14's helm. It's very situational. It only does something whilst you have your super, right? I think they added the shield bash ability to it, but maybe give it a unique cosmetic appeal for your Defender Titan or your Sentinel Titan. Instead of a shield bash, give them a fucking headbutt when they're charging at somebody. And that would tie in with the Saint 14 lore.
You know what? That's not a bad idea, actually. Like, I'm sure that there is some sort of story-based situations where you could really tie that in. Like you said, yeah, you're Saint 14. So if you're, like you said, you grab your enemy by the shoulders and go whack, and you know, give them a good old headbutt. That's actually not a bad idea. It'd probably take a little bit to implement, but I would love to see them implement that sort of thing over time.
Absolutely, like the thought came from back when they added assassinations to Halo. You know, it used to just be a simple melee, and then they added in the animations, and you know, doing it from behind, you did an awesome fucking climb up their back, crack their neck open, and leave them in a puddly mess.
What about this? I know we're sort of stepping into red herring territory, but
when aren't we stepping into red herring territory?
No, but this is serious red herring territory. So, like Eagles has put in the chat there, you know, like if you wear the Helm of Saint 14, you lose access to Sentinel Titan, but you gain Destiny 1 bubble, blinding bubble with armor alight, weapons alight. And
the armor and weapons would be like a choose your own sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it gives you another line of abilities on your ability tree. Okay, if you want to use this ability tree, use this armor. That would make shit exotic for me.
I would love to see exotic armor modify subclasses rather than just being extra grenade or it does this now.
I mean, at the moment, at best they amplify, right? They don't change anything. I think, and I just want to apologise for the screaming that will probably be in the recorded version of this podcast. My daughter was outside and she thought a spider fell on her. I've checked out, there was no spider, but she literally shit her pants. Well, not literally, but she was very upset. So, anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, that's the joys of doing a podcast in the middle of the day while the kids are still awake. But I think that, and I agree with your point, but the thing that worries me about having something that's so drastic with exotics, and while I agree with it and like the idea personally, like this whole philosophy that they've got of like, you know, they've removed the fact that you need to level up guns and equipment so that they're all instantly accessible the moment you get them, which, you know, it sounds good in practice, but it really removes the sense of ownership from them as well. Like there's no anymore like, oh, I've got this, I need to go and build it up and get the final perks. And this is, you know, like even without the fixed roles that we've currently got, you know, like there's no personalization in like, oh, I invested in this piece of armor to then be able to use it. You know, I've spent this much time doing it. You know, I want to at least try. Where now you get an exotic helmet, you'll play 2 games with it and go, that was shit.
That's shit.
You know what I mean?
I'm done with it. Throw it in the bloody. Throw it in the. Like I could see they've tried to do that. They've tried to do that with Masterworks armor to a degree.
Yeah.
Like you've got to go out and grind for it and actually claim ownership of said armor. But no, you are 100% right. Like you go, all right, I've got the Thunderlord, but it's just a sort of average machine gun until you level it up, and then it spits hot fucking lightning that could just destroy everything.
At least with exotics, maybe given fixed rolls and everything with just purples, legendaries. Like we probably don't need to go through investing mats in them, but maybe when you're given an exotic, maybe there is, you know, like maybe it forms the, you know, like maybe it's not even just go out and collect materials. Maybe it's, okay, well, if you want to level up this gun, you've got to go in and get so many precision kills with it. And maybe, you know, like depending on the type of weapon it is, or if it's a rocket launcher, get so many like multi kills with it, or, you know, destroy so many of this type of enemy with this, or, you know, like give it a bit of, you know, especially when most of them have some kind of, and I'm using this very loosely at the moment, given where Destiny's lore is at, but they've got at least some fucking story behind them. You know, especially something like Saint 14. Like, you want to level up the helm of Saint 14, guess what? You're going in and you're punching Fallen. That is what you're doing. You need to be you punch 200 Fallen to death and you will unlock the fucking blinding bubble. Then come talk to me.
I think that's what a lot of people are. I mean, okay, I'm not going to say a lot of people because I don't know what they think. For me, that would draw me back to the game. I would legitimately wipe all my characters and I would start again. If that was the case, if I would go, oh, okay, you need to go and gather these armor pieces, but then you've got sort of mini quest lines within said thing. Like you said, you have to go punch 200 Fallen. I would do that 100%.
See, I love the idea, but taking a step back, I was with the whole, your weapons getting upgraded and stuff instead of instantly being ready. The bit about that sort of got to me was how the weapon grew with you. You got to learn the weapon as it grew.
Yeah.
Galahorn was a piece of crap until you got that last perk. And getting it to that last perk was a learning experience. You got to learn how the weapon feels, how it plays, how shit it is without that perk, etc. But
yeah, well, I mean, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Like, you joke about it, but you're not fucking wrong, dude. That's the thing.
That and it gives a greater level of exposure to some of the sub perks too. Like when you've got 3 different scopes to choose from, and that's all you've got when you've got this brand new gun. You're gonna read through what they all do and fucking try them all, right? At least the first time you get them. So, and then as you progress, okay, I've unlocked the next slot. Cool, I'll jump over there. What are the options? High caliber rounds, or whatever. It could be anything. Oh, which one do I like out of these? And you kind of go through that. Like maybe you didn't have the perfect roll on the gun, but you still made choices along the way to make it more yours. And I think that's, like, I don't want to shit on, I'm not going to say I don't want to shit on it because I currently don't like it, but I'm not being mean for the sake of being mean, but the way it is at the moment, there's just no investment in, like, I've got a Better Devils. I've got fucking 100 Better Devils. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no, like, I understand where they were trying to go, and I understand that their heart was in the right place with trying to get, improve the overall balance of weapons and remove the kind of like real niche weapons that, there was 1 or 2 guns that were the meta at the end of Destiny 1, and that was about it. It hasn't worked. Like, it hasn't worked because you go in Crucible right now, all you'll see is Better Devils and probably some kind of Super Soaker fucking, like a positive outlook or something like that. That's really where we're at, and there's a meta anyway, and whether it's a perceived meta or a real meta, it doesn't matter because that's the way it ends up. It's, you're fighting like, all it takes is one fucking YouTuber, right, to start the Better Devils is the new meta, and it just fucking filters out anyway, especially if they even half know what they're talking about. So, I don't know, I think, like, this is the part of the podcast that I love, where we all get in here and just try and spitball ideas, and we don't know anyone at Bungie or have any real links to game development, but this is the shit that we're passionate about, and I'm glad that we do this sort of stuff. So if you don't like it, leave. But
straight up,
I think that's part of the problem with Destiny for a lot of the first, like, especially Destiny 1 players, is that they feel a lack of investment in their own, like, and when you're talking about investment in an armor piece, it sounds weird to kind of step back and go, like, really, you're invested in a piece of armor, but it's more than that. It's kind of like through that, tinkering with the minutiae of pieces of armor, you develop your own self, right? Like, it's weird. It's kind of a
I get where you're coming from, mate. I think a lot of people do. Like, I would much rather invest time in an armor piece to find out over time if it was worth it or not, than just get it, put it on, and go, oh, that's a bit shit. But anyway, regardless.
The armor is just all about whether you like the look of it or not, right? There's nothing special about all of the armor unless it's exotic.
Yeah, true. I mean, different perks.
Especially now with Masterworks, you can just change it to be whatever you want, whether it be recovery or mobility or resilience.
Well, I mean, like, I hate to bring up an old argument, but I did see this before. Is like they really stopped catering to the people who love first-person shooters and who love RPGs, because it is a pseudo RPG Or that's what Destiny 1 was to me. I mean, you can argue with that and argue that with me until you go blue in the face. But I am of the firm belief that Destiny 1 was a FPS RPG, and you had to unlock shit. And I think you had to put time into it to actually gain enjoyment out of it. I mean, that's the reason why I had 2,000 odd hours in fucking Destiny 2. It's the reason why Rowie has 5,000 hours in Destiny 2. It's the reason why Winky and Becky.
Think about it this way, like, how many nights do you reckon you hopped on Destiny with nothing really on the agenda to do, but you had a gun that you hadn't leveled up yet, and you just went, oh, I'll use this to level it up, or at least you'll level it up by turning in your quests or whatever, just to give it a go, just to check it out. I used to do that sort of shit all the time. Now, doesn't matter. It's, like, I'll give it a go the second I get it, and if I don't like it, boom, it's 3 shards, baby, and that's it.
Well,
I don't know.
And another valid point is not a valid point, but a valid statement has popped up in the Twitch chat. So thank you, Noise. But they said that they have said they cater to casuals. Now I don't know if I can't fully agree with that. I can't fully agree that they cater with casuals, because there are a lot of people who play the game who literally work from fucking 8 till 6, come home, cook dinner for the family, and then jump on Destiny for an hour or two, and they actually want to get somewhere. So I get that they need to cater to those people as well, but the people who have been with the game since day dot and who have stopped playing, like
that accessibility is amazing.
Yeah,
they just need to have depth for those who have time for it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But anyway, regardless, so we'll carry on with what old matey has said here, John. So the one thing that they have want to have words. All so they say that exotics are all spectacle, not enough utility. So I'm going to paraphrase here.
They're talking about Graviton Forfeit specifically there, but
yeah, but I mean, like, exotics as a whole. So basically, they're changing the Graviton Lance to basically
Lance, not Forfeit.
Graviton Lance. That's what I said.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. No, I said Forfeit. I don't even know. I'm talking about a helmet.
Making the weapon feel more exotic. So the first 3 rounds or the first 3 bursts are going to have no kick. The third burst is going to do more damage. I mean, it's going to be a gravity neutralizing round that
it already is that. It already is that.
Oh.
That's the. But I mean, when you read it, like, it's not really worth drilling into now, because it's just an example of how they're reworking it. But I mean, when you look at the depth of, like, when you look at the level of effort they're putting into rejigging a gun right now, that, let's take it or leave it. I really like the gun. I like the sound of it. I like using it. It's just not quite viable, so to speak. So I don't. But I mean, they're, things as small as, like, how when you kill something with it, it used to float directly back and then explode. Now it floats up, and it's sort of like, well, they're trying to make it useful. There's explosions bigger and more shit comes out of it. So there is a definite reason to go and maybe it's not the gun for you, but it'll give you a reason when they do this balance pass to go and pick it up again and give it a bash. I think that's important in that people might be rediscovering things. But yeah, I mean, like, with this, once we know the balance, once we see the balance pass, once we're in it, we're going to know more about where guns really lie, and hopefully exotics continue to, when they do this pass, it raises them above the normal weapons, because right now they're not, and that is the problem.
I would love to see that. I really would, but the thing is, though, people won't. So the people who are A, too busy to play, B, too lazy to play, or C, play but don't really give too much of a shit in finding out meta and all that sort of thing. When this balance pass does happen, they'll be looking to the streamers, the YouTubers, the content creators, and they will put in the hours. They'll go, all right, best gun to use is this pistol. This pistol will one-shot everything. And then it'll be back to where we are at the moment. Unfortunately.
That's the nature of the beast.
That's what the team's trying to do, though, isn't it? They're trying to make that less of a defining factor. Like, yes, maybe that gun can one-shot, but only at a meter away. therefore it can
Exactly.
be counted if you're further away. Blah blah blah.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. That's what they're trying to do.
So, just to note for the people who haven't read the TWAP on either YouTube, currently in the Twitch chat, or have not heard about it on the on SoundCloud, the weapons that are not receiving an update during the pass is Merciless, Telesto, Wardcliffe Coil, Minor Multitool, the Colony, the Legend of Acrius, and the Vigilance Wing.
Yeah.
So those weapons will stay the same at least for the time being.
Well, I mean that or the base weapon pass, that is the sort of rejig of the meta, will affect them to a point where they don't see further changes on the exotic perks as necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
They have stated that specifically. The Vigilance Wing will be touched by the overall sandbox change, but not specifically touched.
I mean, there's one thing about this that disappoints me, and that's that the Legend of Acrius is not being fucking nerfed into the ground after the other night, because I haven't seen anything but it. Oh my god. What a fuckwit of a gun that is. Anyway,
but
that's just my personal...
this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, I was in the chat, like watching you and Polar and Etz and Sassy play, and yeah, the Legend of Acrius. It's a pain in the ass. How many times have you seen it used prior to Crimson Doubles?
Yeah, true. You're right.
Quite literally, like it is a pain in the ass. Right. But how many times?
It's like Crimson using... Doubles. It has a much more limited use because there's more people for you to worry about.
Exactly.
You know, most of the maps were bigger that you'd end up on too. Like in Crimson Doubles, you don't end up on the Leviathan map where you've got sniper lanes everywhere.
That's exactly true. The other thing, the other thing is that it's kind of nice that at least it's a really hard to get exotic that's been a pain in the ass, and it's not just one of the fucking random drop legendary weapons that's overpowered, right? Like, I think that's the thing is, like, I don't have it because I can't be bothered, and I'm whinging about it. I could go and get it if I wanted to put the effort in, and that's probably something that I'll go and do now. So I guess it being that little bit more painful gives me the carrot in front of the nose to go and actually pull my ass out.
You know what?
So just touching on that, how you haven't got that gun, that is one of those guns that grows with you by doing things.
Yeah, but it's the only one in there.
It is the only one, but it is a step that they need to take.
Great example, actually.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, it is what it is. Like the Legend of Acrius, as someone who did a fair amount of raiding before giving up on the whole situation, I didn't even get the first step done. I really couldn't. I couldn't have been any less bothered. I really didn't care that much. But now that is a thing, and with the updates that are coming over the next couple of months, and then DLC 2, maybe I'll go back and play it. Maybe I'll go back and do it. So we'll see how we go. Moving down into the support team lists and all that sort of thing, just a few bits of admin. Crimson Days is live in Destiny 2. It lasts until the reset, obviously. The Burnout Crucible map, so the one that's on Mercury.
Burning Shrine.
Yeah, Burning Shrine. Yeah.
Burning Shrine from D1, which is now Burning Shrine without the glare.
No burning.
That will be only part of the Crimson Days until February 20th, and then it'll come into normal rotation. And the Undeterred Exotic Sparrow, earned by participating in Crimson Days at Crucible playlist, does not come from the Crucible engram and does not contribute to the Crimson engram knockout mechanic. The Undefeated Exotic Sparrow does contribute to the Crimson engram knockout list when obtained, and is only available through Crimson engrams or the fucking Eververse.
Right, so, but Eververse, it's not. You cannot buy the engrams.
You can't buy it. It's just the Eververse mechanic.
They've got a few things for sale.
I know. I'm just being overly fucking dramatic. You know what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're the things that you guys could take note on in regards to Crimson Days. And if you are playing Destiny over the next couple of days and you really do enjoy the Crimson Doubles, good luck. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah,
try not to rage too much. And just enjoy yourselves, guys. Quite literally enjoy yourselves.
Do we want to do some questions from the chat, dudes? Do we want to do that?
Let's do some questions
questions from the chat. Right. I'll turn the chatty on.
While we get some...
Here's your chance to be famous on YouTube. You can be be in the chat. I just want to touch on something that Man at Arms, a good friend of the show, says in chat. He says he misses hand cannons. Get a better devils, you idiot. They're literally the most overpowered fucking primary weapon going. I don't know how you could possibly
literally
miss
no
them.
damage fall off.
Yeah, they're like, what? How can you miss them? I also miss my palindrome, but hand cannons have gone nowhere. They're exactly where they always were.
So, ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for some questions to crop up. So, if you have any questions, guys, in the Twitch chat, if you have any questions or have any statements that you'd like us to discuss, please let us know. Daniel and Log, did you see anything that sort of caught your eye in the larger gaming world this week?
Well, for mine, the fact that they're doing stress testing for Sea of Thieves. I thought, they had the closed beta, and now they're basically trying to fuck the game. Literally, Joe Neat, the executive producer, there's a video on YouTube of him saying okay, we had the closed beta, that was all well and good. This adds no new features, and we'll basically be trying to literally get the game to break. So if you were going to expect choppy seas, was I think the pull quote from it. But I thought most developers I don't think would actively go out and go, right, we are trying to fuck the game. We are don't be surprised if there's mechanics that don't work. Don't be surprised if turning in quests at some points is just broken. Don't be surprised. So I'm going to jump on, I don't know, maybe later tonight and get my seafaring fix in. Because I don't think there'll be any. It doesn't look at this point like there will be an open beta for that. But that was mine. Just I think the raw honesty of having your producer sit down and face a camera and just say, "This is what we're doing. We're probably going to break the game. You might not have a good time with it, but let's just encouraging get everyone on at the same time and try and break it." So it was just pretty novel in my opinion.
Winky, what did you, if anything, what did you see this week that caught your eye in the larger gaming universe?
In the larger gaming universe, not a lot really. I wasn't looking at a lot of news this week. Most of my free time has been taken up with trying to get in some crimson doubles and
Makes
that
sense,
sort of
man.
thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You only put out what you get out what you put in. If you don't like searching for the game news, then that's all good, man.
Yeah, not this week though, but recent news that's got my ears perked for people in my situation is the Xbox Game Pass having all first-party titles included on day one.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I don't have to pay for
that.
Sea of
There you
Thieves. I can just pay $10 and get a month of access to Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy that, when you think about how cost-effective that is, if you play all the games you will be able to get. I think it's a very strong play on Microsoft's part. It's been something that I don't know. It's always I think previously they've really mismanaged sort of their own in-house productions. Forza's such a strong game, but it was kind of it was never really enough to draw you always back in. Where if you've got the ability to subscribe to something like that, and maybe it's something people will use on and off. Do it for a month when Sea of Thieves comes out, check it out, see if you like it. It costs you $10. It's a good deal, really. I mean, right. I'm going to be buying it. I know that. I've already fucking bought it. But for those on the fence, it's a great option and a great way to, again, listening to the Sea of Thieves podcast, they see that as an incredible positive because it'll allow people to engage with the full version of the game that otherwise wouldn't. That now, price for there's also a risk because if they can't back it up, if there's not, if they don't have the content there, that's one of the biggest concerns with that game going forward is that, the novelty of just sailing around and killing people is going to wear off. What's the guts of the game, right? If they don't have that in place,
this week, haven't they?
Yeah, and they have, but they're kind of banking on, well, you know what, we might get these people who come in at $10 a month for the first month. I think there's even a cheaper deal for the first month. It's crazy how cheap you can get it. But there will be exposure that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten, and they're aiming to make the most of that. Which I think it's a ballsy move, but probably a necessary one in this day and age. The other thing that came out through the week is that it will have no fucking loot boxes. So thank fuck for that. That whole...
It will have microtransactions, but no
Yes.
loot boxes.
No loot boxes. All the microtransactions will be you purchase a specific item. So that, in this day and age, is fucking positive news, apparently. So that's how far we've fallen.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to the questions.
First question we've got from the Twitch chat. Thank you, Ruster Oz. What maps are you loving and hating in Crimson Doubles, gentlemen? What have you seen? What have you loving?
I'm probably not going to be real popular for saying this, but fucking Burning Shrine. I don't know. I kind of, when it first loaded up, I had that like, ooh, yeah, it's fucking, what's it called now, Burnout or whatever. I'm like, I know this map. And then I got in there and it was all dark and awful, but it just feels the same as it kind of always did. And I don't know what I was expecting. Like, maybe the new Shores of Time is kind of, it feels a little bit different for some reason, and like it's familiar but different, where this just felt like it was exactly the same. Like, literally.
What the difference is, though. So the Shores of Time was shrunk a little bit to suit 4v4, whereas the Burning Shrine Burnout is pretty much 1-to-1 because it was already such a small map.
Yeah, I didn't put that together, but yeah. Where did you just...
There you go.
Did you measure it out in footsteps, Winky, or...?
No, they talked about it when Shores of Time's re-release came
out. Right, okay.
They
so that was just me and my head in the sand. Fair enough. No, well, I mean, maybe that is what it is. It is. I really like... I'm not saying I don't like the map. I mean, maybe once we're seeing it on where there's more people involved, it might be a bit better. But it was, it's one of the classic Trials maps, and I'm looking forward to it being in the rotation for that, maybe more so than in Crimson Doubles.
It is in Trials right now.
Is it?
So, Winky, what's your... Trials numbers are going to jump up this weekend if that's the case. Then
the OG
just for that,
Trials,
for that. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just for the people who played Destiny 1. Go, hey, I remember Destiny 1. It was good. Let's play this and let's play Trials and all that sort of thing. Winky, what's been your favourite map?
I don't have a favourite, and I don't hate any of them. It was just when I played through all of the maps that were in the rotation on the first night. It was amazing fun. And then it was just, by the time the meta had become stale, a couple of days later, none of the maps were fun because I was always facing that meta. But...
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I did enjoy... What was that one? The one with the flag out on the side. The one that was in the beta.
Distant Shores. Is it Distant Shores? No, that's the new one.
Are you talking about the Jupiter map, the one with the like the rocket ships and all that sort of thing in it, like the launch platform?
No, the Nessus map with the tunnel down the back and the platform in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't it bad that, like, dude, none of us know the names of the new maps? Is it? It's not just me. Like, none of us do.
I know which map he's talking about. It's the one with the open outside on one side and the tunnel on the other, and the tunnel that goes up into the middle and all that sort of thing.
It's like the only symmetrical map in the game.
Yeah. So a question from Big Shug 13. Thank you, man. Do you think the May expansion will save Destiny or keep the fan base around long enough for the big September expansion? Now,
ooh, fuck.
That's a pretty loaded question, Shug. That's a pretty loaded question.
It's a fair one. Fair enough. We're not here to lick windows or fuck spiders, so we might as well jump in on it.
It's a fair question, but it is a loaded one. Now, that will bring private matches back. That'll bring a lot of changes, sandbox-wise, and the changes that are coming up on the 27th of each month, coming up to May, that will definitely bring some people back. Will it bring a lot of the community back? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know. Like I've said before, I don't play Destiny on a weekly basis. I'm lucky to play it on a fortnightly basis, if that. I don't know if it will bring me back. I'll definitely check it out, but I'm not sure if it'll bring me back to play quite regularly. So I don't know. I might be a fucking mutant in regards to how this all how it all sits, because I really don't enjoy playing Destiny 2 at the moment. So I'll check it out. We'll see how we go. If I keep playing, I'll keep playing. If I don't, I don't. Like, I don't know.
I'll answer it as best I can.
There's no harm in just checking it out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most people are in that situation. Like, what I'll say is it is not going to be the definitive save of the Destiny universe, right? You can't be going into it with that expectation. That could be the September expansion. What this needs to do is demonstrate enough value to get people to be willing to reinvest in the September expansion. because that
Exactly.
is outside of our fucking, our expansion pass, right? So what it needs to do is make enough of a good impression to get people to do that. Now, there are going to be people out there that no matter what aren't going to do that. And there are going to be people out there like me probably who no matter what will buy the expansion because fuck it, I play Destiny and that's what I do. But I think that the important thing that really needs to happen with this expansion is there needs to be movement on two fronts. Firstly, these like PvP passes and stuff that they're going to do, the balance passes, they need to be on point. If they fucking mess that up again, and people that doesn't begin to trickle people back in, I don't even know where we end up.
Look,
I think the other thing
we've
is
already seen that trickle start.
Yeah, to an extent. The other thing is they've got to seriously sort of sort out this whole just bleeding, hemorrhaging on the integrity of the law, right? Like what happens in the story of this will be, incredibly important, not just in terms of like literally what happens, but the way it's approached and the kind of respect to the previous stuff that's happened. Like, I think that's everyone's issue, is that Destiny already had such a full and really exciting and interesting, deep universe to sort of, look at the thinkers in our community. Look at the guys like Beard and, Matt's not here, so I'm not going to bother blowing sunshine up his ass. But, there is, there's an element of people out there who, the main thing they get out of Destiny isn't even playing the fucking game. It's thinking about this stuff outside of it, right? And that right now is not there at all, and it's ugly for them. So I think that is just as important as any gameplay mechanic. It needs to be approached in the right way. And I'm not a law dude. It's not make or break for me, but it is make or break, and it's fucking important to the community for some people, right? So that's my answer to that question, as best as I can give it anyway.
Well, the law community were the people that were still hanging around at the end of D1.
Yeah, they're the most rusted on of all. Like, you could break every mechanic in the game and people would still be there for the law.
They'll be like, they will sit there on the Bungie forums and in their Discords and in Twitch chats and going, well, what about Oryx? What about Crota? What about this? What about that? And they will sit there and they will have, for the most part, quite good conversations about it. Other times it just, like anything else on the internet, sometimes just evolves into incoherent screaming. Daniel, what do you think? What do you reckon, mate?
About the DLC?
The DLC...
What do you think needs to happen in the future for this to return, to right the ship, so to speak?
Yes.
I would like to see a return to Grimoire in one fashion or another, whether it be a codex for our scannables or Grimoire actually returning for picking up dead ghosts or those scannables or whatever, just something for people to read whilst they're sitting on the fucking toilet taking a shit for half an hour.
You shit for half an hour? Man, you got to get more
Sometimes.
fibre in your diet. And then again, you're a dad, so sometimes it's just like you don't really actually need to shit. You just need to sit somewhere where people can't fucking jump on you for a little while, right?
It's an actual escape, yeah.
But...
Etsy's coming in with the uptime command. Let me tell you, it's been about an hour and 5 minutes, brother. There's no command.
But the DLC, the Rasputin or the Warmind DLC or whatever it is you want to call it, that's upcoming.
That's not going to have what I want, but
it needs to knock it out of the park. The May update may bring people back for the gameplay alone, like private matches, practicing, learning matches, learning guns, all that sort of thing. Private matches are huge. Will it hang on to the player base for a few months? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But
I don't think it'll bring them back yet either.
No, you'd be surprised, man. Like, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's always the thing as well. But the DLC, this Warmind DLC, which a lot of people, as Log said, and people in the chat have said, a lot of people have already paid for. I've paid for it. The three of us have paid for it. Mylan's paid for it. It really, really needs to knock it out of the park to the hugest degree.
Right.
Because if it doesn't,
I think we all agree on that.
People aren't going to come back to it. I've already spoken with people that...
Let's jump in on a question from the better half of Mr. Winky here that might lighten the tone a little bit. We've talked a fair bit about the upcoming D2 fixes. What are you most excited about? You can go first, Daniel, because your missus asked the question, and I assume that you'll do as you're told and answer it.
I'm going to veto for a minute. I need to go and find the roadmap.
The road.
You know what I'm excited for? Like, legitimately, I'm legitimately excited for the changes to the raid, i.e. the changes that have already been implemented. So loot-wise, and then the ghost that comes with it, so you can sort of go with it limits the duplicates that you get of your exotics and all that sort of thing.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of the ghost for the life of me now, but like, you guys know what I mean.
Yep.
So
the raid ghost, is that what
the
you're
raid
on?
ghost, yeah.
Okay.
I would love to get my hands on it, and private matches. Private matches are always fun just to dick around in.
Yeah.
Like, you
bit of
could
fun.
set up and just go
Tractor
cannons
cannons.
only.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
That was my answer. That was my answer. I am looking forward to 4v4 tractor cannon fest.
The Sanic update for the Titans is going to be pretty cool as well. So, Winky, what's your thought process here, Ming? What are you thinking?
Oh, you
Mods. That's the one. Mods.
the mod expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I want mods that are worth looking for. I don't want this overflowing amount of useless crap that I can't get rid of without just, getting
Without
50
putting
of them.
aside half an hour to hold X.
Yeah, I want mods that matter. I want like the Leviathan gear mods.
It's a good step in the right
it's been
direction.
an amazing
eh?
start.
Yeah.
We need that. We need that on all of it. But
Totally
obviously, I prefer it to not be available all the time. It does need to be something you earn. I get the raid one because you want to use your raid armor inside and outside of the raid, and it's nice and easy to swap back and forth between the two. But definitely getting mods that matter is big on my list, and
Excellent.
I cannot wait.
I mean,
to
I'm on
dancing
that.
with single
That is
ladies
very
and then
important.
sweep up afterwards. With the
because
multi-emote.
because a mod doesn't matter to you doesn't mean it doesn't matter to someone else. But I get where you're coming from. I 100% get where you're coming from.
No,
You know,
don't
like-
get me wrong. I use the mods as I can to the best of my ability. If I'm running a void class, I have a set of armor with all these void mods on it. If I'm running weapons that need balance mods, I have another set of armor with balance mods on it, etc., etc. But I want them to be deeper. I guess perk sets maybe involved with mods.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be alright.
I mean that's nearly another thing again, right? But I don't
Yeah.
know. Here's another one. This is an interesting one and something that we've touched on in the past, and especially leading into the release of D2. Organic E asks, with cross-platform gaming becoming more popular, do you think Destiny will ever support it in some form? I feel pretty strongly about this. I would love for Destiny to at least, even if it was only in that you could access your character on multiple consoles, right? Without having to level them up independently. I think that would be a huge step in the right direction. Do I think you're ever going to be able to sit on your Xbox and play someone on their PlayStation? Probably not. There's too much fucking bureaucracy and bullshit goes along for it to ever get to that point. It is nice to see that gaming in general, I don't want to mean to harp on about Sea of Thieves, but between an Xbox and a PC is flawless. I mean, you can't even tell. I would dearly love that, developers started to take their nuts back and say, you need to develop this system because we're doing it, and otherwise, it's the console who doesn't do it, the platform that doesn't do it, will ultimately be the one who loses out. But as it stands, I think it's kind of stagnant at the moment, and trying to get Sony, who's probably the biggest player in the console game, I don't know, I haven't looked at the numbers for years because I don't care. There's a huge wall there. They don't want to break down this wall. The other thing that would really need to be ironed out is how people across platforms would communicate. That's probably the biggest hurdle in that. Discord's out there, and I mean, God, I think I speak for all of us when I say that we just really wish that the consoles would adopt a Discord app that we could use on the console to get into our Discord servers. That would be ideal. But until that happens, and until, for me, it just seems like a hell of a long way off. I want it. I think it'd be wonderful, but it is so far away. It's depressing to think about, to be honest. What do you guys think? You got anything to cheer me up?
No, not to cheer you up, but to be honest, PlayStation and Xbox will never ever do it. You know, at the moment, Xbox has extended that hand, saying, "Look, we'll do cross-platform," and Sony's gone, "Like you guys, we're winning." And if that ever reverses, Xbox is going to withdraw that, because then they've already got PC and Xbox crossplay on any first-party or, you know, exclusive titles. They've already got that, and if they win the next generation, PlayStation's going to maybe extend that and look like the good guys, and it's a never-ending cycle. I do believe Xbox did the same thing back when PS3 did the same thing back when Xbox was winning. But at the moment, because Destiny is now on 3 platforms, it's Blizzard, which, as far as I know, no Blizzard game has cross-play with anything else, whereas Steam does and Windows games do, but Blizzard doesn't.
True.
You know, it's a third player in that we don't want to share our player base.
But the thing you got to remember is that Activision owns Blizzard. It's Activision Blizzard. So we may see it.
About that.
I mean, if Activision decide that's what they want to do, then, you know, at least between the PC and the Xbox, it could happen. But it's not a Windows-based game; it's a Blizzard-based game.
No, I know.
It's never going to happen in Destiny 2. I wouldn't hold your breath for Destiny 3. Maybe Destiny 4 in fucking 2026. We can all talk about it then. I don't know. If the franchise gets fucking far, let's...
Basically, in regards to what you were saying about the Discord stuff, never going to happen between PS4 and Xbox, because they're like the ginger stepbrother and they're like ginger stepbrothers. They won't play together. They don't play well. They don't. That's like at the end of the day, it's business. Fan and a St. George fan. It's never going to happen. Never going to be mates.
Get out. Yeah, right, okay. Righto.
No, but quite legitimately, I would love to see Discord on console, because the chat apps for PlayStation and Xbox are piss. They are piss.
The end.
But I don't think Hammer and Chisel, I think, make Discord. I don't think they'll ever get a foot in the door in that respect. I just don't think they will. Anyway, regardless.
All right. Who else can we fucking give an answer to? About what? Well, there was something.
So, what happened in the news here recently is that EA has stepped on their own dick in regards to microtransactions in loot boxes, with being quite legitimately gambling in video games that has access to younger children and all that sort of thing. EA may have ruined it for all of the big companies. So that's always a plus to see, that because if you guys keep up with the gaming news, it was absolute bullshit, but it was pay to win, more or less, in Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2. They were forced. Now, they won't say they were forced, but they were forced by an angry backlash of internet Star Wars fans and EA fans for more or less causing stable characters, characters that were stable to the series, i.e. Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, blah, 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 being...
hidden behind a paywall. We all know this. We don't really need to fucking go on about. Like, I think the thing is that we're already starting to see developers shy away from putting loot boxes in, because it comes with a very negative connotation.
Games as a service now.
Games as a service. I can get on board with games as a service, because you know what? I played the Old Republic.
It's the same shit. It's the same fucking shit.
Yeah, but at least you've got the luxury of fucking stopping. You know, like you look at games as a service.
Per game, I would rather pay more, $120, $130 per game, if we didn't have season passes, if we didn't have to pay for microtransactions, if the production times were a lot longer, I'm talking like 2 or 3 years, and then I would pay $150 to get 100, 200, 300, 1,000 plus hours out of a game. If Destiny 1 released as Age of Triumph, I would easily pay $200 for that. More.
You know what?
Because the amount of time I got out of Destiny 1 and the amount of fun and content that I got out of Destiny 1.
But would you pay that $200 up front for vanilla Destiny and then wait for all that content, not knowing what you were going to get.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would pay that up front for vanilla Destiny if we didn't have to pay for all of the fucking subsequent shit.
Yeah, okay. So you would have paid for vanilla Destiny as it was, and then waited for all of the rest of the content over 3 years and paid $200. Okay, absolutely. But even if you didn't know that was coming,
yes. If there was a guarantee, of no microtransaction or bullshit,
so pay $200 up front, and here's a 3-year. We will support this game awesomely.
Well, no, we will support this game until the second iteration.
Yeah, okay.
Is what I'm saying. Is like I know it's a big step. I know it's a huge step, but I also think that the season pass, microtransactions, all that sort of bullshit is fucked.
Sloth, the thing that we were scared of happening is about to happen. And that you and I are about to completely disagree, and Matt isn't here to play middleman and bring us back together, because I'm on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, right? Because I think that paying more, like, I think in Australia we pay $100 for a new release game, and I think it's bullshit. I go on and I look at fucking forums and people bitch, I want to get my $60 US value out of this, and I go, I pay $110, right? You know, like, that's, fair enough. I understand exchange rates. That's one thing. But the other thing is this, right? If you want to fucking keep people playing a game, the easiest way to do that is to demonstrate value, right? So you go with a games as a service fucking approach. You need to be demonstrating value, or you don't make your money. You make people spend all their money up front, and they fucking, like, that's it. You've got it. You know, they've got to wait for 3 years to get their full fucking lot of content out of it. The other thing is, it's more malleable. Like, say you lose your job, you can't afford to play games as a, right, fine, I need to really tighten the reins. I can, for 3 months, I'm not playing, there's these 3 games that I play. Ultimately, it will depend on how expensive they are, but the practicality of, like, me right now, if someone said to me, like, admittedly, I spent fucking $300 on Destiny 2 when it released, right? I bought it on 3 platforms. That is as it is. I mean, do I regret that? Probably. If it could have come back to me over the last however many months as a games as a service approach and have paid $10 per console, I'd be in front now, right? I would have gone, I don't really play it on the PlayStation. I can just discontinue that. That's in looking at it from a perspective of, it's a service on each independent console. If you're a subscriber, I get
where you're coming from.
I get where you're coming from too. I do see it. But
the thing you've got to remember is that, as someone who AAA companies, and even AA or whatever it is, AAA companies are these big publishers. They will offer games as a service, but they will always make you pay up front to begin with anyway. Always. Yeah. If EA was to release a new Battlefield game straight off the bat right now, and it had 500 hours of content, had this massive grand campaign where you blew up the world 3 times over, and it was amazing, and had all of the voice actors, none of the screen actors, but proper voice actors coming in and doing it, and it was absolutely amazing, they would still charge $120 up front. And then if you want the games as a service, you will pay that subscription. So they will have that money anyway. So I would rather see them release the game as free, and you pay a monthly subscription.
Yeah, that's where I'd rather be at.
Release the game as a whole, and you pay one price. That's it.
Interesting point on this, and I know that I've said Sea of Thieves far above my quota in this, but all of the DLC for that is free. Going forward, you don't need to buy a special version of it with an expansion pass or anything like that. Like, as everything I've read, you buy the game once and you have access to everything it offers until it is done. Except for
both platforms too.
On both platforms. Like, if we can get to that, if that is what fucking, like, I don't know how they're going to make money out of it. That's honestly my concern is, like, they better be,
because
yeah, but they're going to need to be fucking good, man. Like,
yeah, because Rare is a Microsoft owned. Well, I mean, people will buy it, but because Rare is a Microsoft owned company, this first party Xbox games as a service thing, they'll get a cut of that. And even if there's only 100,000 people have purchased it over the games as a service, that's still $10 per month that they will get a cut of. and Microsoft will take the rest. But because Microsoft are taking the rest, and Rare is a Microsoft company, they will get a cut of it. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can't look at Sea of Thieves as an example of how other companies can do it other publishers can do it going forward, because it's clear that they're trying to use it as the spearhead of this, like the subscription service, the Game Pass, right? Like it is their big ticket, the big thing to hang it on. They're trying to make it as cheap as possible for people to get in, and subsidising the living shit out of the production cost. Because looking at the game, there's no way in the world it is cheap enough for it to, like, it has been cheap enough to produce for it to be a $60 US title, and then no cost going on from there. So maybe it is just the guinea pig, it's the prototype, and they're willing to wear the cost of it. I think I to purchase a full price game and then to have to pay a subscription fee for me is like, I'm never going to agree with that. But if we can be subscribing to games and that be how we pay for them, much like like going back to the Old Republic or a World of Warcraft kind of model, then I'd be.
But even World of Warcraft, you have to pay. You have to pay up front. You've got to buy the base, and if you have your expansions every time they come out. So
really,
monthly fee.
Yeah, and pay the $15 a month. Yeah, absolutely. It's not free. It's not. You've got to purchase.
You can play 2 weeks up to level 20.
Play for 2 weeks up to level 20, which you can hit realistically in about 6 hours.
Yeah, been there, done that. Never played it again.
Yep. So, but like Etz has said in the chat, so Microsoft has more money than God. But they need intellectual property, so they're willing to throw some cash on the fire to build it up. And you know what? If one company, one of the major companies, one of the major companies do come out and do that, and it's successful, I would love to see more of that. Now, one company has kind of done that in that respect. Now, this is Ubisoft with The Division. The Division DLCs have been free. And they've gotten better every time. For a time. For a time. Not,
when was it update 1.5? They let everybody play the DLCs like for a week and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now it's back to you have to buy. But
I mean, looking at the Division now. I mean, it's clearly something that's worked for them, right? Like to allow people to access the new game, the changed game, for want of a better term. I mean, and get in there and see what it's all about, and then have to pay. It generates goodwill, and I don't think there's enough of that in the gaming industry at the moment. Like they're so willing to take your money. They're so willing to take your money and be like, "Hey man, trust me, I've got this fucking update, man. You're gonna want to buy it. Give me the money, and you can check it out." And then you get it, and you're like, "Oh,
well, we're gonna stop being there." To quote and paraphrase my favourite British video game pundit.
It's been a while since old Jim Sterling got a fucking mention, to be honest.
But like he said, these companies, your EAs, your Ubisofts, your fucking Activisions, blah, 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 they're not happy with making a lot of money. They will only be happy when they have made all of the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like these guys, they don't want to make games for the fun. They don't want to publish games for the customer. We're not the customer. The customer are their stakeholders.
Yeah, true.
They would want to make all the money for their stakeholders, so they can go and buy a fucking planet in the next solar system over for themselves, quite literally. Anyway, but
it's a fucking scary way to look at it, isn't it? It's I think. You come into video games, and most of us have been playing like gaming in some form all of our life, and you look at fucking Alex Kidd in Miracle World. That as much as there was a gaming corporation that made it, it like really, and look at where we are now, where it's kind of like we all have this inherent distrust of developers because of all of the shady shit that's going on.
Publishers.
Well, hey, a little bit of both. I mean, let's be honest.
I would actually put the blame more on the publishers.
Oh, so would I, but
because you look at games like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, that had no publisher and was one of the fucking
incredible game.
Like one of the biggest hits of 2016, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, sorry, go on. Continue with your thought process, Log. I rudely interrupted you, man.
I've completely ruined it, mate.
All right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen,
sorry, it fell out of my ear while I was listening to you talk. That's why I wear in-ears, because otherwise the fucking shit just... my ideas just fall out. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, It has been a really, really lovely chat. And we would like to thank a Fractured Winky good friend of the channel and good friend of ours as well for coming on. We're
going to have to get him on more often, I think. I think it's,
absolutely.
Because he's not ill or away on holidays.
As much as he does have a broken penis, he's actually a relatively intelligent young man, so you should definitely check him.
For reference, Sloth, if you're going to do like a little hand signal to show where it is, just grab the skin on your finger and just peel it back until it splits open.
Stop it. Where can we find you, Winky? Where can we find you?
So that's what you've done. You've split your skivvy. That's
pretty much, yeah. The little bit that holds it all together.
Yeah, right. Okay. So
where can we find you, mate?
Sorry, you can find me at twitch.tv/a fractured winky, all one word, correct spelling, no underscores, no spaces. Twitter, a fractured winky, at a fractured winky. Everywhere, I am a fractured winky.
Yeah, you're a good boy. Good boy.
Yeah,
even
IRL.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you check out Log as well, twitch.tv/logpowerslave, youtube.com/logpowerslave, and twitter.com/logpowerslave as well. And ladies and gentlemen, we will have Mylan back next week, provided that he hasn't...
I don't know. We're going to have to pull him out of the fucking law void.
We
might have to go after him.
We may have to go into the law void and pull him out, but we will get him out, even if we have to drag him out by his beard. Right, guys, if you are on YouTube, please let us know your thoughts, processes, and questions in the chat below. If you're listening on SoundCloud, thank you very much for supporting the channel. And to our Twitch viewers, thank you for the lurks, the chats, and the questions, ladies and gentlemen. We have been the DDU podcast. Thank you very, very much for watching. Catch you all next week with some more chat stuff.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You can say, hey, if you really want to, you can say the law will find you.
The law will find you.
Yeah.
Touch yourself.
Broken penis.